Hi students. So last video we discussed about the introductory part of the chapter The Living World from the unit The Diversity in Living World. And we also discussed in detail about the properties or the characteristics of living organisms. And today we are going to discuss about diversity, that is the biodiversity in the living world. So what is biodiversity? Yes, biodiversity is the variety of life forms existing on Earth. And we know that it mainly helps to maintain the ecological balance on Earth. And we also know that each organisms depends upon each other for survival, right? Yes or no? Yes. But nowadays, the biodiversity is being getting affected. What is the main reason? Yes, extinction, species extinctions, right? So how can we preserve our biodiversity? So we need to preserve biodiversity. The only way is preventing species extinction. So preventing species extinctions is one way to preserve biodiversity. So simply, what is biodiversity? The number and types of organisms present on Earth. And number of species, whether it is a plants, animals, so described is almost 1.7 to 1.8 millions. So how we can study these millions of organisms in the world? Then comes new terms we are going to discuss, which will help to make our study easy. Okay, the first term is taxonomy. What do you mean by taxonomy? So taxonomy is a Greek word actually. Taxus meaning arrangement and nomia means method. So simply means the study of naming, defining, classifying and groups of biological organisms. Or it can be defined as the study of identification. We need to identify the organisms. We need to classify them and we need to name them. That is nomenclature of organisms. So who is the father of taxonomy? Do you remember? Which we already learned in your 9th standard. Yes. Starts with C. Carolus Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy. He is the taxonomist who first formulated a uniform system of defining or naming of all world's plants and animals. He was the first person to bring the scientific naming. So Carolus Linnaeus is the father of taxonomy. And what is systematics? Another term we are studying here. What is systematics? So it's a Latin word systema. Systema in the sense systematic arrangement. Systematic arrangement deals with evolutionary relationship between organisms, or simply which means systematic arrangement of organisms. This all will help us to make the study easy. That means how we can study this much of millions of organisms on the world. So to make our study easy, these terms are going to help us in. Yes, let us see. So here is a book name, that is Systema Naturae, is the book written by Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, so Systema Naturae is the title of his publication, that means Carolus Linnaeus, where he mentioned about this scientific naming. And what is the basic process of taxonomy? What is the basic process of taxonomy? So first one is characterization. So what do you mean by characterization? Yes, we will discuss all this in detail. That is characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature. So what is characterization? We need to know in detail the characters of the organisms. That means what are the characters? That means such as internal, external structure, structure of the cell, development process, ecological informations. We need to know them in detail. That is characterization. Characters of the organisms. And next is identifications. Identification. We need to identify them properly. Identify. Then only we can name them. Right? Identification means describing an organism correctly so that the organisms can be named. Okay, that means study of that particular organisms and notify its characters before naming. We should know them properly. So it is the correct description of the organisms so that the naming is possible. So first we are understanding its characters, then we are identifying its that organisms correctly so that we can name them. Then what is classification? The next one is classification. We need to classify them. Classifying, grouping. Yes, grouping. Grouping in the sense that, for example, birds which can fly, it comes under a category. Animals, for example, plants will come in another category. Fishes will come in another category. Humans. Yes, so classification, it is the grouping of organisms into convenient categories. Categories means the taxa based on characters. So birds flying is the character in them. Yes, the quality or the feature in them. And the fishes which can swim in the water. Yes, that is the character in them. Yes, so based on the characteristics, they are being grouped. That is classified. And next comes the nomenclature. So nomenclature, it is the standardization of names of organisms such that an organism is known by the same name all over the world. Again, this term nomenclature we already learned in our 9th standard in detail. Yes, so for example, a standardization is required, right? So, in all the countries, an organism itself will be known in different names. For example, lion, we are calling it as lion, but in some other country, they may be calling it as differently. Yes, mango, we are calling it as mango, but somewhere else it may be called, it may be known in different name. So, if it is scientific name, standardized name is given, that means all over the world that particular name, that means for example, Mangifera indica for mango. So, people will know from any part of the world that Mangifera indica is mango, or Panthera tigris for tiger. So, they will be known all over the world, as that means we can identify the organisms very easily. Okay, that is why scientific name or standardization of names are required. So here you can see Mangifera indica, then Apis indica. And who proposed the scientific naming? Yes, and it's also known as binomial nomenclature. Bi means two names are there. Okay, nomenclature which is related to names. So two names are there. We'll see that with example. So it is proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. And here you can see the botany. Botany is related to what? Botany. Yes, it's a branch of biology itself. Botany means which relates to plants. Okay, so the botanical names are based on the rules. Certain rules are there for writing the scientific naming, and which is mentioned in International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, that is ICBN. Botanical means plant's name. For example, here mango, Mangifera indica. So it will be mentioned in the book ICBN. Then the zoological, the rules given in ICBN, and the zoological name. Zoology means which is related to animals. Okay, so zoological names are based on the rules given in International Code for Zoological Nomenclature, ICZN. And here is an example, that is Panthera tigris. Okay. And the one important thing what you need to keep in your mind is the universal rules of binomial nomenclature. Who proposed binomial nomenclature? or scientific naming, that is the Carolus Linnaeus. So certain criteria are there which we need to follow while writing this binomial nomenclature. Yes, so binomial, from that it is understood two names are there. Yes, here with the example we will study. Mangifera indica, that is for mango. So it's mainly, here you can see scientific names are in Latin or Latinized and written in italics. So when it is being typed, it will be typed in italics. Okay, when they are written, handwritten, they will be underlined separately. Here you can see underlined separately. Okay, and it will consist of two words. So first word is the genus word Mangifera. Mangifera is the genus word and indica is the species name. Genus name and second word is the species name, or it is also known as specific epithet. Species name can be also known as specific epithet. Okay. And here you can see the genus name will start with a capital letter and the species name or specific epithet will start with a small letter. Yes, so these are the main criteria for writing binomial nomenclature. You'll see, that means it will consist of two words, and the first word is the genus name or generic name, and the second word is the species name or specific epithet. Okay, and the genus name will start with a capital letter and species name will start with a small letter, and both should be underlined separately, and if it is been typed, it should be typed in italics. Okay, and some else you can see like this also. Here is another example, Homo sapiens, which is a scientific name of, yes, human beings. Okay, so Homo sapiens, so Homo sapiens, H capital letter, A small letter, you can see here, but here you can see an additional LINN. So it's an abbreviated form of the author name. Okay, in certain case you can see it like this, this is Carolus Linnaeus who proposed, right? So it is the author. So Linnaeus, the short form is given here, LINN. Okay, so generally the question which is going to come from this is, they will be asking you to, in a wrong way, they will give the scientific naming and you will be asked to correct it and write it. So what are the rules? Yes, so it will be consisting of two words, and the first word is the genus word and second word is the species name or the specific epithet, and the genus word name will start with a capital letter and the species name will start with a small letter, and it should be underlined separately. So these are the rules for writing the binomial nomenclatures, which is very, very important. Okay, I hope you understood. Thank you.